Welcome to Reggie's World, the Reggie's World podcast on ReggieRegRadio.com. And you could also, if you're listening to us on ReggieRegRadio.com, you can go to our website, ReggieRegRadio.com, and click on the podcast page. And anything that you are hearing, you can, on demand, pull it down and get all this pertinent information. Like on today's show, this is like one of our 50-part series of shows surrounding the talk about the friend of the court, baby daddy issue. I always call it baby daddy issues, but when Joe Farley tell you, he said, man, hold on, man, it's more just about the father, it's about the family. We want to make sure the mama's good with the kids. And that's right. It's all about creating a wholesome family. And that's what we do when we talk with cats like Joe Farley of Friends of Fathers organization, who helps people, especially black men, deal with the friend of the court. I'm just gonna say it like it is. He, as far as I'm concerned, Joe Farley, who we're about to bring on in a moment, he is the baby daddy savior. Because I know many a brother who I turned on to him, including myself. We had major issues, including the parts about our mental health when we're walking down to the courthouse, walking down to the Penobscot building, to the friend of the court. And the anxiety issues alone, what we're faced with as men, as black men. And we talk about how we feel the courts are against us. Until we really learn from cats like Joe Farley of Friends of Fathers, we believe, black men, that the courts are totally against us. I mean, and Mouchettee Muhammad, who's on the program today, will break that down and tell you about how the courts really are against the black man. But that's something that we deal with when we go down to the front of the court, when we are not in compliance, the word that Joe Farley doesn't want me to use. He doesn't like that word, compliance, but that's the word that they're going to use downtown. So you should know what they mean when they say compliance. And when we have a job and all of a sudden money has been taken out of our little check, we make $12, $14, $15 an hour, and all of a sudden that little check is down almost zero, and we were racing downtown. They got a bench warrant and all kind of stuff. So, this is a program on Reggie's World, ReggieRegRadio.com. The reason why we do this is primarily to help black people, to get black men and women alike the same, to understand how these systems of these court systems, how they operate, how they work. What's the best procedure for us? What's the best way for a black man to go downtown and deal with the friend of the court so that everybody has a better understanding and we ain't sitting somewhere in jail when we don't need to be in jail. So that's why I have this program, and we're doing this. I call it a 50-part series on the friend of the court, and dealing with not only child support issues, but we're also dealing with families coming together. You may, a man and a woman may have issues with trying to get custody of their children, parenting time, and many other situations. But that is why we do this program. So let me bring on these brothers, these dynamic brothers on the show. My man, Joe Farley, the coach. That's right. You are Coach Joe Farley, because that's what he does. He coaches us so that we can go in and perform in front of the magistrate, the judges, so that we won't be sitting somewhere in jail. And brother Mouchettee Muhammad, welcome to the program, fellas.
All right.
Yeah, so I want to say first, man, thanks to you brothers for being a part of this, because all we want to do is help, man. I got a many a brother, many a friend that have these issues with the friend of the court, and they just lose their mind sometimes, man. And I hate to get to the point where we turn on the television set, and I just remember this situation of a brother. He had to be in his early 30s, and I turned on the news one day. This was some years ago. I'm not sure how many, maybe 8 to 10 years ago. I'm not sure. And when I saw the news, I saw a brother who went over to a child care center at somebody's home in the neighborhood in Detroit and kicked the door in with a semi-automatic handgun, shot, killed one of the teachers, and went into the child. I think the little girl was his daughter. First time he ever saw her. I think she had to have been 1 or 2, and he took the back side of that gun and beat the little girl.
Yeah.
Beat the little girl, then chased the girl's mama and tried to, assault her. Anyway, long story, he's in jail for the rest of his life right now, and it was all because of the child support issues. So we don't want that to happen. So
but what Brother Reg? It just happened just a few days ago. There was a brother on YouTube who actually filmed it all. I don't know if any one of you guys caught it, but there was a brother on YouTube who got on live. He said, my child's mother put me on child support. I've been trying to fight it. He said, but and a guy chimed in, one of his friends chimed in, and his friend indicated to him, he said, man, you good? And he was like, man, you know what I've been through with this child support stuff. He said, and she's been stressing me out over, I've been trying to get custody to see my child support been taking all my money. He said, then my girl got pregnant, and she threatened to do the exact same thing. And now calmly, he said, now I just killed my girl. He said, I just shot and killed my girl, shot her in the head. He said, now y'all know I'm not like this. He said, but then he said, I'm on my way to kill my child's mother. Now he's calmly talking on live. This was just a couple of days ago. And then while he was talking, he said, oh, there she is. And he just went, and then the news came out that he had went in and killed her. But he said, I can't go to jail. He said, so I'm going to kill her too, and then I'm going to kill myself. And he did just that. This was just on live just 2 or 3 days ago. You can pull it up on your social media pages. But this just goes to show you where you were talking about the mental issue of as a part of this. Brothers are snapping. And the reason why they're snapping is because it seems as though the system is against any black man who's trying to do something. Now, I mean, I can understand. I mean, you gotta have a mental foundation to be able to deal with this, because when you're working, and you just mentioned it, Red, you're making $15, $20 an hour, but then when you get your check, the friends of the court, not only have you been taxed up the wazoo, but then friends of the court been and took your money. Now you can barely even pay your living expense, if that, you see. And that's a stressful situation, and men are breaking from that. So this is an important show you're doing, dear brother.
Absolutely. So Coach Joe Farley, hey man, you see this all the time, bro. And see, I know you see it, Joe Farley, but me and Mouchettee, we brothers out here helping other brothers every day, and that's sweet, man. I hear that so much. When I was on the radio, I had people call me on the request line. I'm like, hello, what song you want to hear? Radio station, what's up? Hey man, Reggie, man, I got problems, man. My check is, man, they taking all my money, man. What am I gonna do? So that's the cats I used to refer to you back in the day, Joe Farley. So this is like Mouchettee said, this is a major situation. How do we fight? I asked Mouchettee Muhammad on our last show. I said, Mouchettee, let's look about, I don't know, 30, 40 years in the future. How do you see everything for the black man? We may be old, may not even be here then, but how will it look for the black man in 30 to 40 years dealing with the friend of the court, Joe Farley?
Reg, is the key thing about this, man. First of all, anytime you make a decision as a man, you kind of need to look at not just plan A. What about plan B or C? Look at all three of them. That's the first thing that a real man should do. A frustrated, stressful man, he will probably go off of whatever he's feeling for that moment. But one of the reasons why he's feeling it that moment, because he never discussed in his own mind a plan A and a plan B and a plan C. Continuously, men do this for everything, picking a woman, picking a job, making some money, or whatever. So this here is the totality of the human that we need to really grab hold of as a man. Because, I coach, I talk real just like you talking. Because child support is almost like a man or a person that to some men that's got a gun and got me under duress. And that's what Brother Muhammad has just ministered. He just said that. It's a duress that we're under. This ain't the only thing, but we're talking about this topic. So the key thing is this. My man went out and he said what he was going to do. And he went and did it. But just imagine that God man. I'm sorry, but that God man I'm said God man. If he would have declared what his world was going to be instead of making that statement, he could have flipped the coin. Because on the other side of that coin would be, you know what? Since y'all killing me every day on taking my money, I'm going to go down here and write me a motion, or I'm going to talk to somebody, or I'm going to talk to a lawyer, or I'm going to talk to Muhammad. I'm listening. I got to find a way. It's like, Lord, show me. Sometimes we ask God for something that we can already do on our own because God ain't going to do it. We going to have to do it. So decide, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go. I don't want to kill myself. Put those kids in front of you. Matter of fact, you know how I got swords and stuff upstairs. You got a sword and you got your shield. Sometimes pick up your baby with your pistol in your mind. Now, in your mind, would you shoot through that sword, the shield? That's your baby.
Yeah,
he needs you. So what you're talking about, I'm telling you the truth. If you are being charged child support, it may not be something that you can afford, but you can get it modified. And don't limit yourself to a doggone paycheck of $14 an hour. When you're created to go out here and do a business and to create stuff, you worried about what you created and you can't take care of it. Well, brother, stop creating those kids.
Yeah, you know, and pressure bust pipes. We know pressure do one or two things. It's either going to make a diamond or it's going to bust pipes. And oftentimes when you got all of this constant pressure on a black man, and then this friend of the court comes and you're trying to at least be a productive citizen, right? Not realizing that you done made a baby, but you're trying to be a productive citizen, and you got this scorned woman over here. And we know that there's no fury like a woman scorned. You got this scorned woman over here. She goes and get the white man to put on you to go and look, you're going to help me take care of this baby. Yeah, I want to, but you can't get water from a rock. But the friend of the court go, I don't care nothing about that rock and that water. All I know is this baby, this woman came down here, asked us to do something, and this is what we do. So we don't know how to fight it, but how do we deal with that? First of all, we got to get knowledge of the system. That's one thing.
Can I interject? Like we're sitting out here watching this football game. Before you get the knowledge of the damn system, we got to get the knowledge of me. I don't need to be my pipes got loaded, okay, and it bust with semen, and I'm gonna get a child. It's plain, you know that. Why in the hell would you go here and lay down with a woman knowing that possibility you're gonna get a child? Let's bring it back to the reality and giving our men the power to make decisions.
And you know what, beloved, I agree. We want to get to that's the seminal stage. That's the responsibility stage. But you know, the time to complain about flying is when your ass is on the ground.
That's right.
When you get up in the air, it's too late. You got to figure out what I need to do up here if shit goes wrong up here. So what do I need to do? Well, right now, I understand where we are with respect to, look here, you should have covered up, bro. You should have put that boot on and you wouldn't be here. But when you're there, what can we tell the brother who's in that situation where that pressure, that pipe is being pressurized right now? How can we relieve the pressure before it bursts? Well, I say, well, we got to now teach you this system right now. Because I was talking with a brother, and I was just sharing with Brother Reg. I was talking with a brother yesterday, and he was saying, I thought the women can actually go down and then alleviate any of the arrearage. I asked the brother, well, did she get any assistance? Did she get any Medicaid? Did the sister get any kind of food stamps or anything like that? He said, yes. I said, what'd she get? She got Medicaid. She needed insurance. So I said, once she did that and put your name on those papers as the father of that child, as your arrearage began to build up, from that point, she don't have the power to go down and alleviate your arrearage because it was done through the system. Now, if she was the one who put you on child support and you built up an arrearage, she has that power to go down at that point and alleviate all of it if she wants to. But because she went down and got some assistance, so when you lay down with a woman, going back to the original, the seminal part of it, when you lay down with that woman, you gotta figure out, am I laying down with, and please excuse my expression, but I raise dogs and Reg know, am I laying down with a mutt or am I laying down with a thoroughbred?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had a German Shepherd, full-blooded German Shepherd, and it's a female, and we call them bitches in the dog world, and she's a female, then I don't want her mating with a mutt outside of my fence. I make sure when she goes in the heat that if I want a litter of puppies, I go and get a male German Shepherd that's fully documented, and I know this is a purebred dog because I want purebred puppies. Well, if you consider yourself a purebred man, if you consider yourself a God man, as we say, then you want a God woman. But you know, when you start dealing with the head that ain't got no brain, it got one eye that it can't see out of, it lives next door to two nuts right around the corner from an asshole, you're going to make a bad decision and turn around and get a litter of mutt puppies, and now you got to deal with the consequences at that point.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But
what about the history, though, Mouchettee? You and I talked about this a long time ago, because I asked you one day, I think it was when I was going down to see Farley or something, going to the court, and I said to you, Mooch, I said, when did this all start?
I don't know what happened. Are we there?
Yeah, here come back.
Okay.
Because he did drop off. But that is a good question. I remember him asking that question in reference to when did all this child support stuff started. And that is very important that we get that information out there, because back in the day, in like, you know, the 20s and 40s, you know, men didn't let you take your kids. Men didn't let you. No, you can go, but you ain't taking my kids. And that's legitimate. So when it started,
because men back then, beloved, they were responsible. We knew our responsibility. That was a word that we respected in our lexicon. Responsibility. We were responsible for the things that we produced. Men didn't have a problem working, and when it came to the children, the men like, you not taking my children, because they go, that I made that, and that belongs to me. But you know, when you go through 400 or 300 years of physical slavery, where they were buck breeding us, and they would say, okay, we're gonna take Big Buck with big muscles and mate him with Agnes over here on this plantation, and he would make the baby, and then he was not allowed to stay there and groom and nurture and grow that child. Then he would go to the next plantation. You don't do this for 50 years or 100 years or 200. You do this for 350 years. And then what does that do? That produces in him a disresponsibility. He's not responsible anymore. And then you go through, like in the 60s and the 70s, where this pimp mentality was the overwhelming mentality at that time. Pimping wasn't easy. So, you know, you just played with women and you didn't have any responsibility. So if we can get back to that, then we're good. But remember when that movie came out, what's the name of that movie, Reg? It was Christine, not Christine. The movie where the sister.
Yeah.
What was it? Eugene, Christine, I can't remember the name.
Geraldine. I use it.
Was it Geraldine? Something like that.
But
something like that. But remember when
Brother Jones, Earl Jones played the boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And when the caseworker would come in, he had to run and hide. They had to put up posters and all that kind of crazy shit. Remember, and during that particular time, they actually exploited Black reality when they made that movie. The Black man, they like, if we help you, you got to get that man out the house. If we help you, you can't have a television. If we help you, so at the end of the day, I'm not going to give your man no job. Matter of fact, I'm building these prisons to put him in, because ultimately they're going to go private and we're going to need him in there. And that's going to be the new plantation. But if I help you, Miss Lady, then he can't be there.
That's right.
So the system was already set up to break the Black man. And as it has broken the Black man, then they put this friend of the court thing on there. Now, I'm not going to give you a job, but you still need to take care of this child. What?
So where that's what I was asking you earlier, Mooch. Where did that come from? It was a white woman. I forget her name. She started that whole thing about the friend of I don't know if it was friend of the court or just taking money, making sure that the man takes care of his child. Whatever it is, it became the government started to run the way that operated. Who was that? Because you told me that story.
You got Margaret Sanger. who started Planned Parenthood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There you go.
And you had her, but that was really the immediate eradication of the black race.
That's right.
That's what that was. That was the immediate eradication of the black race, because they considered us, in the Jewish terminology, it's called goyim. Goyim means unnecessary eaters.
Right.
In other words, what you are, you're not producing anything to the society. So what they were pushing on black people were birth control, where they were pushing on white people. They wanted white women to get where they take drugs so they can have babies. That's why they start having litters.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, Margaret Sanger set up Planned Parenthood, and Planned Parenthood got in bed with the government. And so at the end of the day, all of this is just pressure on top of pressure on top of pressure. And like I say, pressure do one of two things: either going to bust pipes or going to make a dime.
That's right. And you're right. You're right, because really it's a bigger plan than just child support. And then, anytime you're trying to, you call that when you're trying to stronghold a nation or people, you're trying to eliminate them or to minimize them, to control them. Since you can't eliminate them, you got to control them. And that's where the jail system comes up. That's where the child support information comes up, to keep the man away from the family structure. Now he doesn't have a voice because he got to be eliminated enough. So therefore you can get redetermined by the DHS system, so you can be able to get the food stamp. And back in the day, they gave cash. So you can have any of that. So that when that worker came to your house, it's almost like you renting the place. But see, they said, no, we rent the place and give you money for the rent. And that's why you were able to come in here. And we got a group of people that will block out this land only for y'all kind of people, so we can control y'all. And see, there's some other stuff in here. But that child support is a mechanism of fear. It's to keep you afraid to even being a father. It's Reg, come on, they take all the money, they charge you the money. You figure, well, if I go down there, they're going to lock me up. So you can charge them, but you got to catch me to get it paid. But they'll get you all the way until you get 60-some years old, and this retirement and the Social Security money, they'll take that too. So they got you in bondage. Now, you've been away from the time the child has been born. And then now it appears that you are the problem. So the child is looking at you like, oh, you ain't never been my dad, ain't coming around. Now you're going to come around because now you're trying to get off this child support because you found a good woman now. Now you got to find a good woman. She's educating on to you about how you can really, oh, Joe, you can go out here and have your landscaping company. You make it $50,000 a year. But all of a sudden now you put money in the bank. Boop, your past and caught up with you. It's a whole systematic thing. So the real thing is that not to not have children, but when you do have children, figure out a plan. You got to. My wife and I tell you no lie about this. About 3 or 4 years, we were in a turmoil because she was saying to me, Joseph, you're doing everything for everybody else, your business, and everybody that call you think you all that great, but you don't have a plan for us. And I'm like, I got a plan. I'm making this money. I'm making this happen. She says, no written plan. It takes time to sit your butt down and say, you know what? This is where we're going in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. And from the streets of where I come from, it's like, dude, as long as I can make it today, I'm making it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But that's not with a real woman. Real woman want to know, where the hell are we going? What are we going to become? So you got a lot of stuff out here that, like you said, Muhammad, after I done had the child, okay, yeah, I done had the child. I thought she was beautiful. She got a child. She's not a mutt, and I really want to be involved. But now she's been told by the system, I can't be around if I'm going to give you food stamps. But her and I supposed to be sitting down and say, baby, what do you want to do with your life? Where you going to go? And that's real talk. And now I'm going to tell you, lovemaking becomes a lot better when you're on two on the same page and you got a future ahead that y'all plan and you got out of that system. Get out the system.
So what happened, fellas, to the woman, the female who decides to take advantage of the fact that, the courts may look out for the woman before they do the man? You explained that to us, Farley, before about how that really works. But how do we what is the term for the sister who, like a situation I have, with a young lady who wanted to take my child and change his name, take him to another state, and hide him from me, yet make sure she getting that money from me. Farley, you remember the city, and Mooch, you probably remember this too. Many moons ago, I signed my first big deal with a radio station, and it was in the newspaper, and she had a friend that sent that to her. Remember that Farley sent that information to her in another state, and she got that, and she sicked her people on me here in Michigan, and was taking all my money. Yet, where's my son? I want to see my son. I want to talk to my baby. And she made sure that didn't happen. And today, still trying to collect when he's 26, 27. What do you term that type of sister for one, Mouchettee? Well, where the hell does that come from?
That's a scorned woman. That's a scorned woman. I would be the first to call her that. But at the same time, we got to also take our responsibility in all of this as well, because as a man, we know man, you've heard me say it many times before, Reg, man comes from the word manu. Manu means mind of God. And if God say, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, then you look like God, and likeness means you should act like God. And God went to work and said, let there be light, and there was light. And then he started putting stuff out in the universe, and he made the earth, and he provided everything that the earth needs, and he provided everything that was on the earth, what it needs to sustain itself. Now, if I'm like God and I have the character of God, then I should be able to do the same thing when it comes to my children. But remember, he also recognized that the man is not good alone. So he gave the man a woman. But when he gave the man a woman, he gave that man a direct commandment. Do not eat of these trees. Guess what? Adam actually followed the instructions. Who got Adam to eat from the tree? It wasn't Adam's own doing. It was that woman that God gave Adam. She reinterpreted stuff. So our problem is we give that woman way too much damn power. What we need to do is stand up like men. Be the men that God created. Make a decision. One thing about it, say a woman say, what are we going to do this weekend? And the man goes, I don't know what you want to do. He did just what Adam just did. He started allowing that damn woman to make decisions. No, that woman wants you to make the decision. So when you come in the house and say, hey, why you ain't dressed? What you mean why I ain't dressed? Get dressed. I got some stuff planned for us. What we doing? Don't worry about it. Goddamn it, go in there, get your dress on, whatever put on, and I'm telling you where we're going. But I need you to look good when you do it. Boom. Then when she go with you, even if she didn't enjoy herself, or if she did it or had a time of her life, she respects you because you make decisions. Yeah. What are we eating? Where you want to go to eat? I don't know. I thought you was gonna make it. But when you become a man and start planning everything, and you take control, and you take it, remember, she's your responsibility. Yeah. She's your responsibility. Show me any of my Rottweilers, Reds, that you've seen in my life. And I had a female, a sire and a dam. That sire didn't allow that dam to do nothing. You going over there and raise them kids. But at the end of the day, I eat first. Why? Because I'm the alpha. I'm the man. Once we can get our young boy to get back to manhood, we may not have this problem. But because our women have seen that our men's testicles have been cut off, then they go, I need to find out how I can get what I need out of you. And then the white man say, this is how I can get it out of him, because the white man's still making decisions. And he's making decisions for his world. We got to build our world up. And once we build our world up, we just may get our woman back.
But you said another key thing, too, in reference to the manhood part of it, because we think that, for example, for the woman, like you said, they want us to make decisions. We don't make decisions because we want to please the woman. So we say, hey, baby, what you want to do? And she's like, well, I don't know. And when she says she don't know, she really don't know. And we have really put her in a position of having to make authoritative responses. And that's not her makeup. But now that she's exercised and she's been doing it, now it's hard for her. She's looking at your muscle like, man, my muscle bigger than yours. I make decisions too. And now we're fighting. Now we're fighting to get the position that only was created for me as a man. But we have to just go ahead out of practice, just like building your muscles. Just continue to do it. Hey, babe, you know what? I know we like to go out on Fridays. We're gonna go out to Fridays. We're gonna go out on Friday at 6 o'clock. Every Friday at 6 o'clock. I'm cutting off my phone. I ain't answering that call from Reggie Reg when he calls. I ain't answering it. Okay. But the key thing is that, and we're gonna go here, or we can go here. I got two decisions. Which one do you want? And she'll say, no, I want to go here. And at that time, you make a decision. Okay, I'll choose that. But next week, we're gonna do this, or we're going to do this, and then next week we'll do what you ask. But we got to take the steps little by little. And going back to what you said, Reg, one of the things I'm going to tell everyone on this call, when you go to the court, they're recording this, okay? Your children need to know, and they're getting a dictator on this too. So you can pull your cases up, and you can request a copy of what was said in court. And for some of us, and like for you, I remember the time, Reg, when you went to court and you said, okay, cool. Y'all take the money, but I want to see my son. I want to see my son. And then the judge or referee said to you, well, ma'am, can he see his son? And she said on the recording stuff, no, he ain't seeing him. And I want my damn money. So at that time, see, her money that was owed to her was like you said, Brother Muhammad's in the top of the hour. Some of this money was owed to the state, and some of it was owed to her. And so now he's caught in the between this thing here. But the issue needed to have happen is kept pressing the issue. I want to see my child. I want to see my child. Because see, they pressing the issue. I want that money. I want that money. You say I want my child. Now, Reggie said it a couple of times. I think we even put in a couple of motions. We said he's not seeing his child. But once that child passed 18, they're like, I can't help you because the kid is grown. So, but what I'm saying, because there's a reformation that needs to occur in the family structure. I seen the guy. We saw a picture of a beautiful boy, man now. And the key thing is that his father been fighting for him for years. You could pull up your records and go to the records of the registers of action. It'll show when you were in court every time, and when you were supposed to be in court and you didn't show. It'll show that. And I'm saying today, us men need to get together, get these little simple information that's free majority of the time, and then you pay for the it's a script or where they take the stenographer in the courtroom that's taking the notes, and they're writing down word for word, and they get paid if you ask for a copy. And sometimes $50, sometimes it's $100. Reg, we need to get that. So therefore, I can write a letter. I mean, you can write a letter. Or a man can write a letter or put all this together and say, son, daughter, I fought for you. This is the amount of money that I paid for you, that they took from me. This is the amount of times that I went to jail because I ain't had the money. That once we start exposing that, Reg, once we start exposing that men do fight for their children because we are parents too, now we got something. And that's going to help Brother Muhammad on our responsibility. That's right. I can't change it. I lay down with a mutt, okay? Right. But what I can do is show y'all that I was trying to be a daddy, and she said, I ain't letting him see nothing. And she had the balls enough to tell the judge or referee, the court system. Now that shows that there is something wrong. When she said that, what if Reg would have said, I ain't paying y'all a damn thing. You better get out my check. You know what would have happened? The court officer would have locked his butt up. Yep. When they say to you, when you say to them, when she says to them, he ain't seeing this child. They don't put no court officer on there and doing that time. You know why? Because ain't no rules to say that they can. But if you say that you ain't gonna pay the money, but it's a rule in there to lock your butt up, and that's wicked. What's most important? The children are most important, not this damn money that y'all trying to get to fund your systems.
Right. And Mooch, check this out. So let's say one day it gets to this point. I would hate if it gets to this point, Farley. But say I'm 80 years old in my rocking chair. And for the very first time, I see my son. He comes to me and he has a talk to me. And the only thing he can say, Mooch, Mama said you wasn't shit. You ain't take care of me. You ain't want to be with me. She tried to come to Detroit and do this and that, and you wouldn't respond. You wasn't doing nothing. And I'm sitting there. So all this stuff she'd been pumping in his head, Mooch. She putting all this stuff in this boy's head from the time he's a child to the time he's a grown man. I'm 80 years old in a rocking chair. He finally comes to me because he want to tell me how upset and frustrated he is from what he understood from what his mama said, not from the truth and what he researched for himself and known about his father, but what his mama pumped in his head, which was all 1,000,000,000% lies, Mooch. And he's talking to his father for the first time in a rocking chair when his father 80 years old. What do I say to my son, Mooch, at that time, brother?
You know, first thing you got to do is recognize that the 80 is the new 60, so we ain't gonna be in no damn rocking chairs. Second thing, I'm gonna tell you this: you don't want to sift through all of the garbage that she put. One thing you've heard me say it before, Reg. I really appreciate my mother because, you know, my daddy was a USDA grade A certified pimp. I ain't talking about he just used the title just to brag. He actually, that was his profession, right? But my father was never really in my life. We moved to Detroit. I was born in Columbus, Ohio, but we moved to Detroit. I was maybe 2 or 3 years old, give or take. My father stayed in Columbus, Ohio. So he was 269 miles away, right? Now, my mother never said anything negative about my father to her children. That's the beauty of my mother. I loved her for that because she allowed us to develop our own perception of our father. And of course, as a boy, whenever you get a chance to talk to your daddy, whether it's once a month or once every 4 months, that's your hero. I'm talking to my dad. Now, I had a stepfather, but my father was my hero, even though he wasn't there in my house. Now, when we got older and I was able to drive to go see my father on my own, that's when my mother started opening up. Your daddy wasn't shit. Well, hell, I'm 25, 26. I've already developed my relationship with my father. I've already drove down and sat with my dad. I've had numerous conversations, but now she can open up. But as we were growing and we were in those formative growing stages, she never put a negative thought about our father in our head. So I appreciate my mom for that. But when you have a woman that's compiling all of this negative stuff in your son's head, first thing I'm telling my son, there's 3 sides to every story. It's your mama's fucked up side, it's my side, and then there's the truth. I'm going to give you my side. You can come to the conclusion of the truth.
That's right.
Now, here's where we got to be very, very careful when we're talking to our children who has been already indoctrinated by their mother. You do not want to start stepping on that child's mother's toes negatively, because that started reinforcing what the mother was saying. But if you just simply give who and what you were and the truth of the situation, how you seen it, without spilling it over into criticizing their mother, that child is intelligent enough to be able to get to the truth. Now, one thing about a child, naturally, a child wants to know who its natural father is. It's just like if we were outside and we had to piss, right? And we say, hold on, pull over. I'm about to go over here to this building and piss. You go over and piss on the side of a building for whatever reason. I don't know why it is, but that piss always finds its way while you're peeing back to your damn foot. That's exactly what a child does. Every time you outside taking a piss, that piss finds its way back to your foot. Just like a child does the exact same thing. It's looking for its father. And when that child finds his father, he or she wants to know the truth. Now, if you had a mother like mine who never said anything, when me and my dad sat down to talk, my dad told me about their relationship, and he was a pimp. He was what he was. My mom, when I finally got a chance to question her, she like, your daddy wasn't shit, but I wasn't gonna tell y'all that. I wasn't gonna tell y'all that because that's your father. So my mother was a Southern style woman. Many of the men on the plantation or down south when they were coming up, man, they had children on the other side. They had a whole nother family on the other side of town and nobody knew about it. And the children, when you died, that's when they came to the funeral and they said, oh, you my brother? Oh, my daddy had a whole nother family on the other side? Because mothers had pride. They like, I'm not going to poison the children with this bullshit that we're going through. I'm going to let that child grow in a healthy environment, and they can grow up and figure out what they want to do with this information once they find it out. But we're not living in those kind of times now.
But you just said another thing, too, that's important. You're right. you know, if he's on this side of the plantation and he's also creeping over here, but we're being pushed out of the family structure when that child support system and ADC and the government, because I got to leave for a week or I got to leave for a month. And I may just be going down the street, but I'm going down the street where there's another female. And look, you know, when you're married, you got a relationship, there's a cycle of sexual activity. And if that 5, that 3, or that 2, or every other day I supposed to get some, and I can't come down there because I got to watch out for ADC people that's coming to the house, then I got to, my pipe is filled. What ends up happening? I'm down the street with Vanessa. And now I got kids by Vanessa. And I got to come back home. So I'm bouncing, okay? It's a lot of that did go on. My uncle was like that. He was over there and he was over there. And he was just over there just because he was a hoe. He was married, whatever. But the key thing is that when you're in that system, I remember growing up in the 70s when my uncles would probably stay the night at our house. And my mama had to make sure his shoes is out. Couldn't explain, that's my brother. That's, you know, that's the uncle of these kids. No. He had to get his stuff out. So we fell into a system, but we got to come to a conclusion. And Reggie asked the question in reference to what do I do? I'm 60 and 70, 80 years old. My son finally catch up with me. He wants to know why you weren't there, you know. And you can say, now I've served 4,000 fathers plus, but I know you can say, and we got documentation. It is a yellow book for y'all, a yellow page book for y'all that don't know what a yellow page book. It wasn't a white page book. White page book is good. And I'm talking about a yellow page book.
Big one.
And he got volumes. He got encyclopedia volumes because he fought so much. And he fought not only with just attorneys, but he did it majority. This last part of your last leg of this, you did it on your own. And on top of it, your calling became more and more of the people. Even in your governmental running for different position in the political world for the sake of people that have head injury, that basically went out there and they got shot, they were shot or whatever because of the love that you have for your own family. You've been fighting for families in your radio show. You've been talking about the community. So here it is now, you trying to get your issues taken care of, and they are not even there to help address that particular issue. And that's the challenge that you have, and most men have it. But you can go and get your copies of everything and say, hey, son, let me tell you this. You smart. I wrote a summary, okay? I wrote a paragraph on what all this volume means. This is what it means. I've been fighting for you. Your mommy had the nerve to say that she wasn't going to let me see you. And the judge didn't say anything. You said, I'm your dad. What you mean? She could do that? Well, sir, you got to do this. You got to do that. It's like, but she's telling you right now, there's no way that I'm going to see my kid. So how can y'all help me versus just sticking me up? It feel like I'm taking every money you get. Every time you got a job, Rick, every time, what they do? 50% of your income, 50% of your income, 50% of your income. Yeah, and they thought you had money because you were running for a freaking office to help the community. They thought you had money. And you ain't had no money. You was helping the community.
Right. You're going to make it rain. Reggie Reg going to make it rain. I was so upset at that guy when he said that, man. I was like, well, how am I going to do that? You know what I'm saying? So what that mean? So
right.
I tell you, I'm telling you, we can connect with him because
I want to ask a question, Brother Joe. And I indicated this to a brother the other day. You know, of course, they can take money out of your check, right? Long as you got a social security number, they gonna find you. If you making money and it comes under that social security number, they gonna find you and they gonna get that money, right? Or if you say, for instance, you run forever and your child is now 38 years old and you run around 62, 63 years old, right? As soon as they find you, you could be 62. I remember going to jail and there was a man who came in there, he was like 72. And they locked him up for child support. I'm like, what you in there for? He like, child support. You 72, bro. What? I'm
gonna correct that.
He had an arrearage, right? Here's the thing. I was telling brother, I said, brother, and you mentioned early on in the show, Brother Joe, that, you know, brother want to get you need to get out there as we take our responsibility. We need to get out, you know, we can start a business. under an LLC, the laws, most people when they start LLCs, and even white folks, it's to keep their name from being sued. They separate themselves
Farley, we talked about that. Yeah.
Their money, right? And if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you set up an LLC and you start making your money that way. I don't know if the courts have access to your money. The friend of the courts have access to your money in that situation. That's a question.
Okay.
Well, we talked about that, Farley, the other day. We was just talking about that.
I know. You know, he always in the spiritual realm. He be hearing stuff, Brother Muhammad. So let me run this back to you. One thing in reference to the older man that's in jail, and you're right, I've had guys, older senior citizens that was in jail for because of their child support case. However, they're not in jail because the money wasn't paid. They're in jail because of the bench warrant they didn't show up to. If he would have known he had a bench warrant or show cause, he would have came to court with his proof of information and show them, I don't have any money, but I got Social Security. So at that particular time, it's an iffy kind of thing because he did have money in his Social Security and he ain't paid nothing. So the part of that court law says, and we need to bring it up so people can see it, is in the future, is that it says when you're avoiding paying child support, that's when that court order, they can pursue you for child support, okay, as a felony non-support, and they can lock you up. But you're most likely being locked up because you failed to show cause and they put a bench warrant on you. Then you get locked up and then they look at your case and see that you had money to pay and you didn't pay. So now we're going to charge you. That's how it works. They don't knock on your door and say, you're getting ready to be arrested because you didn't pay no child support. They don't do that because you would have, Reggie Red should have been locked up. No. Let me repeat that.
No, I get it. That's the point.
Differently. I know, but a person that would have been in the position like Reggie Reg was, they should have been locked up. Not that it was right. Those are people that had that much money and you didn't pay. Yeah, you should have been locked up.
Right.
But he never avoided showing up. Why he didn't go?
Now, see, Farley, I want to say, and this one, I'm going to come in and say this, and now we're going to get to that word that you don't like, called compliance. Now, you're going to break it down why you don't like it, and I respect what you're saying, because I don't either, according to the way you term it, that term. But when you go down there and they say the term compliance, the judge, the magistrate, whatever, they're saying compliance, you want these brothers to understand what they mean. And everything you just said, and Mouchettee, we can go back to your story about how you went to court. You went out there, complied on your own. Well, no, you before complied, you said, Mouchettee, you went in on your own to make sure it was straight. But they had a bench warrant already for you. So I wanted to say to Farley, because he made a good point, I made sure I never had a bench warrant. I could have easily went to jail 100 times. Yes. But because Mooch, I saw the mail come, the mail come to the house, friend of the court. Most guys see that. I don't want that. Throw it away. Every time I got it, open it. Call me. My name is Magistrate Lisa Humbly. This is my number. We got a date for you to be at the blah, 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 blah. I say, please. You know what I did? Showed up. And then Farley told me this, Mooch, after I did that, make sure I showed up when they said be there and be on the phone when they say be on the phone. Farley say, Reg, try this. Now, when ain't nothing going on and everything they got taking your money, now write them a letter, call them, and set up a time to sit down over everything. Exactly. And because I did that, later on down the line, Farley, remember the judge saw me doing that. And they looked on the record. Oh, this guy's complying. I don't like the word either. Farley, break down why you don't like the word complying. That's fine. But the judge said he's complying. So let me not mess with him and give him a bench warrant and hold on, he's working with us. So even though they taking all my money, even though Mooch, I remember times where I got a check and it was zero. And I was supposed to have a few thousand. It was zero. It was about this much, Mooch.
Okay? That's a punch in the stomach.
And I was mad than a Mickey Flicky. But I was compliant, and Farley said, just hold on, we're going to get this right. Most cats, most brothers don't understand that it's all about just that and understanding. Yeah, they just took all your money, but don't snap, go get a gun and kill the child that say that's yours and the mama. Wait, go talk to a Farley or somebody to understand this, and they're going to have to give you some money back, or they're going to have to make that where you can survive by some means. People, the brothers don't understand that. So I'm just saying, compliance, Farley, that's a term you don't like. And I understand why you don't like it, but I use it because that's the word that they use, and we're all understanding now. You feel me?
But you know what, Rich? One of the other things that for sure you would never have a bench warrant. And let me step back. One of the things that, I'm a coach and I'm coaching Reggie Reg, and to me, I'm coaching this celebrity. I don't care how everybody think about it, but I remember this guy,
your brother.
That's right, your brother Reggie Reg. But the key thing was I was surprised. Reg was talking to the people that was making a decision on what they're gonna do to him. He said, "Joe, Farley, this is a person." I'm like, how'd you get to them? He's like, "Man, they called me and I called them back and I hollered at them." And I'm like, "Just what we've been doing." And he was making arrangements and negotiation with the people that could determine if he go to jail that day. I mean, he was talking to him. And this is why I was always telling, because I pushed Reggie. I said, "Man, you can go down here to Joe, my mind. And when I get to this stuff, man, I start sweating, I sweat my throat, all that stuff." And he's really talking about the anxiety that occurs. That becomes that trauma, guys, that men going through. So we got him to the point whereas Reggie was picking up the phone, man. That made me like, what? I tried to tell you, Reg, and I didn't tell him then. You know how you didn't coach him, and he got there, but you didn't want to tell him. I tried to tell you. I said, all right, I'm going to let that play out. Let him go back for a few weeks or something, then I'm going to call him back and blast him. But I'm like, he was taking care of the business that he would normally have to pay an attorney $200 to $300 something an hour. Now he's doing it. So, in other words, all those times that he was and compliant, basically following the process is what I call it. So, because compliant meaning that you doing what I tell you to do. No, you ain't. I'm not doing what you tell me to do. You got a program, and I'm following your process. Because you ain't gonna use that word to dominate me. Because I'm a man. I'm taking care of my business, and making me look small because I gotta say I'm a compliant. Yes, I comply. No, I don't comply. No, I'm following the process because I'm still a man. Because your manhood is being stripped every time. Every time you go to that court system and you don't know what the hell to do or say. And then you get down there, you start talking all this bull crap. Well, I bought her a house. Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, I bought her diamonds and I bought her this and I took it. Oh, you did? How much you think that cost? Oh, about $5,000, $10,000. And all of a sudden, he didn't spend over $100,000 a year because he's on billing.
And then he pulled out a knot. Then he pulled out a big old knot.
Right. What y'all need? What we need is all your money. It's like you get caught in the alley and you about to get your pockets. Right. Do you know who I am, bro? Yeah, I know who you are. I got a 4-4 on your head. I know who you are. Give it all to me. So my point of it is this. First of all, we don't talk too much. Answer the questions that are there. And when you have a question, guys, ask the question. But make sure you're not asking questions that make you look like you should have known how to take care of this a long time ago. We got to stop falling into compliance or falling into their process to help. We're going to get locked up. We're going to get this money on our name and our Social Security. See, that Social Security thing is another one, Brother Muhammad. That's a whole different topic. That thing right there, that's the other thing. That's their guide over you.
Absolutely.
I ain't going there, but you know what I'm talking about. So the key thing is that we have to, right now, I would suggest for anybody who's listening to this station here right now today, you need to make sure you call. And I know Reggie's pushing me, and I've told my staff, my wife, that my book got to come out, The Most Important Questions Men Never Ask. You got to go down there and ask these questions. Well, you got to call them because you don't want to go down there because there might be a bench one on you. Okay.
Right.
And that's my number one question. This is Joe Farley. I'm calling reference to my child support case. My Social Security number is blah. And first thing I want to know is that, do I have a bench warrant? And they're going to say, why you ask? Why? I would just like to know. And they say, yes. Okay. When was that issued? And they said 1992. Okay. When it was issued, why was it issued? And then they'll say, because of this. What address did y'all send it to? Oh, damn, I ain't been in that address since 1992. Okay. So that's the first area you got to correct. So once you get through those, and I have 8 important questions, they all are chapters by itself. But the key thing is that let's go and get your records. Let's find out on the block, because you got to go through this block. Let's find out what kind of weapons I need, what they're going to ask me for. So now I'm prepared like a king. Now I can address these issues. And on top of it, at the top of the hour, Brother Muhammad, you said this statement. You got to figure out if it's owed to the mother or if it's owed to the state.
That's right.
Those are the key things, because now you're dealing with 2 different animals. You're dealing with the mother of your child, and you're dealing with the state, which is government. That's Uncle Sam. He wants his money. But at your current position financially determines what you can do. I got a case right after this call here, right after this podcast. I got a client right now who got a lawsuit that he's getting ready to be awarded. His money, and guys, don't get caught up in this. His child support owed was to the state, $32,000. He's I don't know what the total amount for his lawsuit, but they got a lien on it, getting ready to take it. First of all, how you gonna take this man was injured? How you gonna take all his money? He'd been waiting for years to get it, and now you're saying you'll take it for the child support? Which, by the way, he got a letter that said, and this is another good helpful hidden tip. You guys, this show is very educational and informative. So they got a letter called statute of limitation. The friend of the court sent it out to him. Hey, sir, we found that you haven't paid in over the statute limit within the statute of limitations process, and you're on Social Security disability. Therefore, and the child is emancipated, you really don't owe us any more money. Check this out. What that means is that in the past 10 years, he never made a payment. He couldn't make a payment. He even had no money. Okay. And plus, he's from the street. So he ain't had no government job with that social number on there. Okay. Now he getting ready to get an award. And because it's more than $500, the whole state of Michigan knows about it. They trying to take that money. But they had already sent a letter saying that he basically statute of limitation. So he really don't owe the money. But statute of limitation is saying because you haven't paid and you don't have the ability to pay, we're gonna erase this. And the child is no longer of an age. So therefore, the child don't need the money, the mother don't need the money, and really it's us that owes them, that you owe the money to. We're gonna cast this out.
So they forgave. So his debt was forgiven.
They wrote a letter saying that he qualifies for the forgiveness. So it's a process. It's a process. There ain't no compliance, Brother Reg. It's a process he got to go through so he can go and get that thing stamped by a judge. Boom, it's over. But sometimes they also put a little asterisk on there and say, but within whatever period of time, if you are able, when you do come about some money, we can come back after you for that money. Okay. So there's some things that guys need to do. Y'all laying low, and I'm going to tell you, the dead does rise in this child support. They never die. Okay. The way you eliminate it is this: contact a friend in the court. Joe Farley's going to come out with the book, the most important questions. But I have the service right now. You can call us at 313-983-0044. That's 313-983-0044. Brother Reggie taught me to say that. And go to our contact page at friendsoffathers.com so we can go through some of these processes. But you need to get a copy of your case. Get a copy of your case. Find out how much do you owe. Brother Muhammad gave y'all the secret in the very beginning, how much I owe to the mother and how much I owe to the state, because those are the 2 different people that you got to address. And some of us are of age like me, and you don't have that much money. I got money. I'm making I continue to speak money over me. However, I want you in a position right now, if you're low to no income, this is the time to address it. And right now, guys, if you got money in the bank, you want to take the money out the bank, because a friend of the court is putting money liens on your accounts.
Yep.
And then you want to address the issue so it don't keep coming back at you.
But you didn't, I don't think you all the way answered Moushettee's question, because you and I were talking about this the other day. If you have, if a brother has a business, an LLC, are they able to tap into that if you don't have your Social Security number attached to that LLC?
Well, your social security number is attached, but it's indirectly
absolutely
attached because I'm Joseph Farley. They got to know who they're giving this money to when I go and write that check or pull the money out. However, it's not the forefront. It is the EIN number that is the mother.
Right. That's what it was. Right.
That's what you got to have it established at. So, however, if I owe a debt, there's something about piercing certain veils. But if I got money in my ABC company, and I owed it to child support, the child support not necessarily can go in there and levy that account. However, they can put a motion in to go after all my assets. That asset could be my lawn company that I made $50,000 in the summertime, and I stand to do another $50,000 in the winter, so I got $100,000. I got to show them all the assets and all the revenue and all the expenses and all the things that I need to do to get down to the profitability of the company. That's the money they can come after. And that's why us guys got to make sure we have everything in order. But they can't automatically, like they can do on your social security number, go in there and levy your account. So you want to have an EIN. The Reg, we talked about this deep, is that right now our country, the United States, has been, since the early or mid-90s, was really pushing us to become self-employed because of the times that we're living in right now. They create this plan. So if you're self-employed, you want to have an EIN number. And you want to take stuff out of your name, because if anything in your name and you owe me, I can sue you. But they can't necessarily sue my business. They can only sue what I put in my pocket from my business. And that's going to be probably 22%, 18% on the dollar.
Wow. Wow. So that answers that. And Mooch, I don't know how, man, I can term this for you, or how I can explain this to you. But when you talk about a brother going into the court already filled with anxiety, just overwhelmed with anxiety. And Farley mentioned earlier, because he knows all about it because he's a part of it. I'm before the court and I'm sitting there with the judge and my son's mother on the phone, out in Cali. And when she said, when the judge, I told her, I said, okay, judge, hey, take the money. Y'all go on. Y'all take all of them. I don't give it them. Take it all. Okay, that's what you want. You trying to rob me anyway? Go and rob me. Where my son at? I literally said, okay, the hell with the money, take all you want. Where's my son? Because I ain't seen him since he's born. He had to been at that point, Farley, what, 19? I can't remember what he was.
He was like 17 years old.
17, okay. And I hadn't seen him since he's born. Because her fault, not mine. It wasn't because I didn't want to be with him, Mooch. It's because she didn't want me to be with him. She moved him out of state, moved him to another state, changed his name, did everything she could to shake that. So I'm sitting there before the judge. And as Farley said, they don't care nothing about making sure they get the money. That's their job. But again, let's go back to that term compliance. That judge saw me complying over and over again. So she decided to say, you know what, this brother, I guess he is about his business. So let me ask her. She didn't have to do it. She said, let me ask the baby mama. So what's up? He's saying he ain't seen his son. Where's his son at? And she paused. I never forget that for about 2 minutes because she was trying to think of what she wanted to say. And lo and behold, the judge was really trying to get that out of her. And at the last minute, she said, well, why don't you, let us know, give us an address so we can find you. Whatever the case, the judge didn't have to do that. But I said, take the money. Where's my son? I want to see my son. I said over and over again, where's my son? Where's my son? Where's my son? I ain't seen him. Put him on the phone. Put him on the phone. I never forget that. So the anxiety that you get, Mooch, when you're there in the court and you asking the child's mother, okay, you are who you are. You this devil-like type or whatever. Okay, fine. Where's my son? Where my baby at? I'm a man. I want to raise this boy. I ain't seen him. Not my fault. Your fault. Where is he? You want this money? Come get it. You can have it. I'll give you I'll triple that. I'll go out here and I'll give you some more money. Where my son at? And then she's trying to say, I don't know where he at. I don't know where he at. What the hell you mean you don't know where he at? So you see why I'm frustrated, Mooch?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's sad is you go down in the courts and they got a woman holding the scales of justice with a blindfold on. But for some reason, you think that heifer is peeking up under there looking at you. And that's unfortunate because we go, if your intentions are pure and you go down and it seems as though nobody is on your side, that adds to the pressure. And as we were talking earlier, and I was saying about and you all got to go see this. This is one a tragic moment when the brother actually killed his baby's mother and his current pregnant girlfriend, and then he went off and killed himself. It's in the news.
Wow.
It shows you that there's a mental health issue attached to this, where our brothers are breaking, they're snapping. And of course, when it comes to mental health, that's a stigma in the Black community where we don't talk about it. Now it's being talked about slowly but surely right now, but hell, the tragedy and the sickness has already happened. So what we're doing is just dealing like with NyQuil. NyQuil, what they used to say in the old commercial, NyQuil stops the sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest, but it don't cure the cold. You still wake up in the morning with a cold. We're just dealing with the symptoms of mental health right now. We haven't eradicated the problem, and now you see these unfortunate things happening. And now with this friend of the court thing, that's why, Brother Joe, your program needs to be spread far and wide. Your information that you're giving needs to be spread far and wide. Shows like this, you need to be on constantly, because as soon as this information gets out, or if I'm talking about it and somebody else hear it in the background, they chime in. Man, hey man, what do I need to do? Because we don't know. We don't have the knowledge. And that knowledge is something that has to be passed on, but once we get the knowledge, then we can get the wisdom, then we can get the understanding.
Absolutely. Right. And Brother Farley, we got to close. We're coming up on a hard close. So I want to say this because Mooch was leading to the close. And I want to say this. We want to thank you for all that you do, Joe Farley, with Friends of Fathers, the organization. And you got to break it down. How can these brothers and sisters be a part of your webinar? You have it every other week. And if they want to be a part, they can find you at a number. They can find you at a website. Break that all down because we need to know.
Yep. Simply just go to our website at friendsoffathers.com, friendsoffathers.com. Go to the contact page and fill out the registration form to come to our free informational session that is held on first and third Monday evenings. That's our free informational session on Monday and first Monday and third Monday evenings at 6:00. The telephone number is 313-983-0044. The number again, 313-983-0044. You can reach us, but it's best to register via the web. And if I can say this to Brother Muhammad, it's Claudine.
Claudine, that's right.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember that movie. So what we're going to do, if you're listening to us on ReggieRegRadio.com, make sure you go to ReggieRegRadio.com, the website, and look at our website and check out the podcast page and pull this up because, like I say, we're going to do like 50 of these. This is just a part of a major series of this. I call it the Save the Baby Daddy shows. But and Mouchettee, I need you to give us some few kind words to the brothers out there who going through this, man. They don't know what to do. They're standing there with a gun. And should I put this gun down and go and listen to Farley, or should I take this gun and do some evil?
First thing, they got to call Brother Farley. He's giving you the website. He's giving you the number. We got to arm ourselves with information. I just indicated that we got to get knowledge. Knowledge is the acquisition of information. But once we get that information, we have to now practically apply it. That's wisdom. Wisdom is the practical application of the information that we just received. But we don't want to stay there. Like the scripture says, with all thy getting, get understanding. Understanding is having gotten a result from the knowledge that I acquired and practically applied. So knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Brother Farley has given us the knowledge. We need to have it and we need to put it into practice so that we can get an understanding, and that relieves the pressure that we're under.
Y'all put y'all hands together for these two dynamic brothers up in here, Mouchettee Muhammad and Joe Farley. And fellas, y'all get ready to do this again because we ain't gonna stop, man. We do this probably every once a week if we can. Okay, so y'all get ready for my phone call. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate you. The views and opinions of Reggie's World podcast are absolutely positively those of Grown Folks Radio Network, the parent company, the Express Yourself Network, And due to the fact that we are broadcasting via internet radio and not the antiquated terrestrial radio broadcasting method, I can say what the hell I want to say without a program director who really does not care what the hell I say. But due to the fact that he works for a gigantic corporate radio group that really doesn't give a damn about the concerns that need to be addressed in my community, but they are instead standing on pins and needles with the FCC. So he tells me to refrain from being me by having a very strong opinion about any and every damn thing I wish to have a strong opinion about, followed by a threat to reprimand me if I continue to be my individual human self by standing up for my absolute constitutional right to express myself through freedom of speech, which is a strong part of this nation's law of the land, instead of just simply allowing a brother to express himself. Well, for clarification, I am here on Reggie's World to speak as freely and as genuinely as I fucking please. Because as the title says, this is my world. So if you have a problem with me expressing my viewpoint on life's issues, then here's my recommendation for you, dear cousin. Turn me off. Turn me the hell off. And that there concludes this disclaimer. I'm just saying.